Welcome to the presentation, Upgrade Your Service Offering to Prepare Clients for Safety and Security Today and Tomorrow with Gavin Daly. Especially in today's climate, businesses must keep customers safe, protect staff, and enforce physical distancing, all while continuing to operate as effectively as possible. But where there are challenges, there is opportunity. From low-touch entry and occupancy detection to heat mapping and blocked exits, electrical contractors are well positioned to deliver these solutions for right now and for the future. Gavin Daly has more than 14 years of experience in the electronic security industry and has expertise in assisting with system design to developing custom firmware for projects of all sizes. And he joins us now to discuss numerous smart solutions you can take to your clients today so they are prepared for tomorrow. So, welcome, Gavin, to EBPowerCon. Please take it away.
Thank you very much, Anthony, and thanks for having me. So for the next little while, there's a couple things I want to talk about, but as you'll see from the name of the title, is solutions for today, prepared for tomorrow, or what we call these tangible solutions that are all about business continuity, keep the business moving along in these new and trying times. And without further ado, I am going to jump right in and start talking about some of these solutions that we have come up with as far as access communications goes, and sometimes in conjunction with our partners. So this is called very low touch entry, or using what's called facial detection or facial recognition. For anyone that doesn't know what that is, think of a surveillance device that you would class as a traditional security camera. Is usually there for security purposes, record video, something happens, you would go back and look at that video and try to figure out what went wrong potentially, and then use that for evidentiary purposes. That's a very traditional security solutions, but what we're starting to see today now, and this is all based on challenges, one of the challenges is allowing people to gain entry into a facility without necessarily having to press a call button or touch something. Everybody's paranoid and concerned, I guess, today about hygiene and things of that nature. And one of the solutions we've come up with is using video detection or video cameras to automatically scan a face and gain you access to a facility based on that. Traditionally, this would fit into what they would call access control, right? The ability to get in and out of a facility in a secure way. And really it avoids the potentially having to use a guest fob that may be unsanitized. There's all kinds of new hygiene rules today that we have to adhere to. And I think the important thing to remember is once you put this in, again, is a scalable solution. So you're going to be able to use this for years and years to come and avoid to have to use fobs all the time, which is the more traditional approach. So elaborating on that or expanding on that and onto the next section here, this also on the subject of very low touch entry, utilizing wave sensors. And some of you that are out there may see these today, where all you have to do is take your hand, wave it in front of a button, and some kind of event happens. And the kind of things that you would see would be initiating a call to a remote operator who could answer and then open a door. So let's say your face is not in a database, there's no facial recognition, or you don't have a fob to get into a facility, and you just want a way to contact somebody. These wave sensors are very simple solutions, and they can tie into a couple different things. They can tie in to a IP-based phone system or a SIP phone system, access control systems. You're talking about the VMS, which is the video management system. That's the head-end platform where all of the video and data goes back to be recorded, or just something like, maybe it's got to page somebody, or it called somebody's cell phone. All these things are now possible because everything is on the network. Everything is open architecture, and that's the beauty of it. All of these things very, very nicely integrate together. And really the challenge this one solves, again, it's gaining access into a facility, without having to go up an interface, like push a button or present some kind of credential. Just wave your hand and the rest is automatic. The next one is what's called occupancy estimator. And the challenge here is trying to keep track of how many customers or staff may be coming in and out of a facility, while at the same time offering real-time alerts when a limit is exceeded and covering multiple entrances and exits. And the solution here, it looks something like having a PVM, or what's called a public view monitor. If you've ever walked into a retail location and you look up and you see a screen, and usually you see yourself kind of looking back at you, that's what they call a public view monitor. And what we've seen in the retail space is a very manual or analog, if you will, way that this is being managed. It's a person standing there with some kind of counter, and they're clicking as people come in and out, or they're just counting manually and just kind of keeping a mental note of who's coming in and out. And really, this is a way to automate the whole solution. And you're leveraging different pieces to do that. You're leveraging video cameras, you're leveraging audio devices where the camera has a analytic that sits on board that is automatically counting how many people are coming in and out by the direction that they go. And the audio is playing a customized message that says, oh, please wait. And then when it's safe to enter, an announcement would come out indicating that it's safe to do so. The next category, what they call directional flow control, this technology has been around for quite a few years. It's just now we're seeing new applications for it. So it's tried and tested, I guess you could say. And really, what is directional flow control? Well, it is a way to automatically create a notification or send some kind of alert when a person or multiple people are walking in the wrong direction or against the grain. We would have typically seen this in airports, things like that back in a couple of years ago, I guess. And now we're starting to see requests for it in public open spaces, typically retail environments where traffic is expected to walk a certain direction. And there's arrows on the floor indicating such, but some people follow it, some people don't. And this is a way, as a kind of a friendly reminder, to create an automatic alert that if somebody is walking the wrong way, an audio message would play overhead and say, attention customer, please note the direction of the flow, and just some sort of low obtrusive message, I guess, or without having it kind of too, I guess, forceful or angry, because everybody's trying to follow the rules, and this just helps as a friendly reminder. But
Hey Gavin, can I just stop you for a moment there to for a little confession? I'm actually one of those guys who's pretty bad at following those arrows, so I could
oh
probably
yeah,
use that solution.
we've all got our part to play there, and we've all done it, like accidentally, purposely, whatever the case may be. Um, but the next one, physical distance detection, which is an interesting new challenge that we're all facing, and I guess 2 meters or 6 feet, depending on where you are, and challenges such as contact tracing. This is really what stemmed this solution, and this is with a partner of ours that leverages video analytics to achieve it. And essentially what happens is you've got people walking in an area, and the video analytics are detecting, it's not so much who or what, well, it is the what, it's not so much the who. The next one is what they call a audio bridge for an analog PA system. And for anybody that's ever gone into any facility, or you may even be deploying these audio solutions today, it's traditionally the components look like an amplifier, an equalizer as they call it. And then you've got all your various different edge devices, the speakers themselves, and it would be an analog system. And what we're doing now is we're bridging these systems because everything's going digital. So the speakers are all on the edge, they're on the network, they're powered by power over Ethernet. And it's not, the trend, I guess, is going that way. But there's always this period of time where you're going to have what they call hybrid systems, and things have to integrate together. Not everybody is going to quickly rip out an old system and just go and put in a new digital system. The budget may not be there, it may not be, it just may not be possible. So you have to be able to integrate the two. And what does that mean in today's world? Well, it means that you can have a legacy analog system, and you may want to give it a bit of an update and do all these kind of things we've been talking about. And it is possible without having to rip the whole system out. You're adding some extra little pieces in between, what they call a network audio bridge, which allows you to bring in digital audio sources. And that could be music, it could be background, like background music or paging, or it could even be security focused messages. The next subject, this is kind of a very simple solution, creating I guess a new digital way, or try to make things more automated. And this is hand hygiene reminder, which we see these now at just about every facility that we walk in and out of. You'll see them on the entrances most of the time. You'll see them on the exits, and you may even see these sanitizing stations scattered throughout the facility, depending on where you are. And what's this all about? Well, imagine you have a security camera in that facility already. Why not add an extra level of intelligence to it, where it can detect when somebody walks by, and then now plays a friendly message. Oh, welcome customer to our facility. Friendly reminder, there's a hand sanitizing station, or don't forget to sanitize. And just could be a very short message that plays automatically. Curbside pickup. This is a new thing we're all starting to obviously, I guess, get used to now. You go to a hardware store or some retail locations, a lot of them are offering curbside pickups. And the solution looks like this. Imagine you have a vehicle, you drive up. Wouldn't it be nice to automatically detect that you have arrived, so you don't have to make a phone call, or you're not necessarily having to open up some kind of app or an old email with a receipt, or maybe you had to print off a receipt. So these are the kind of things we've seen today. And what this looks like is basically you drive up to your location. We have cameras that have, this technology has been around for a while, which is LPR, or license plate recognition. So if your license plate had been registered, you could show up to a facility, the camera will read your license plate, scan it, and then match that to a database and say, okay, customer ABC has arrived, is outside, and they would bring the order to you, essentially. And that's with a vehicle. The other is what they call QR codes. And most people probably know what the QR code is. They've been around for a long time. We have the ability to scan QR codes. So you could walk up to a facility, which usually has an intercom on it. You would hold your phone to the intercom, it would scan it. And then based on that being scanned, it would alert an operator that, okay, you're here, and open a door or come out and greet you, or whatever the next step needs to be. The third piece is, again, using audio. So tying in a speaker that could play back an automated message to the user that lets them know, okay, we know you've arrived, kindly wait a few minutes, we'll be right out to see you. And it gives that kind of feedback to the person, and can minimize or almost eliminate the need for even direct physical human interaction, I guess, which is not something we all want to do. But in today's climate, it's something that we kind of have to do. And we're all adjusting to it. The next one, live view feed or classroom streaming. This kind of, I guess, takes us back to our roots almost, because IP cameras, for those that don't know the history and when this started back in the 90s, the kind of mid 90s, the main use case was not security. It was live streaming of things like hotels typically. So the tourism industry would be one of the biggest industries for us back in the 90s, and where we really started with IP video. But if you need to stream something more from a classroom or large event type application, usually they don't want to use a little crappy webcam or a phone camera. They want to put in something more dedicated. And the technology now exists to be able to stream directly to things like YouTube, or even integrating with common platforms like Zoom or Skype, if anybody's still using Skype, WebEx, and the list goes on, all the usual kind of streaming platforms today, Facebook. And I guess that historically, one of the things you needed to do was have pieces in between. So there would have to be some kind of server running some kind of software on board. So it was extra pieces, extra software, extra infrastructure needed to support that. And now, because the way things are going, the camera is able to transcode everything all in one. So you can have an IP camera, load an application on board, and a very simple interface that can stream directly to the web, all from the camera itself. No laptop, no server, or anything needed in between. Audio. Okay, so this one is audio bridge, using the audio bridge for intercom messaging. And this is a way in a retail environment to play a consistent, regular message, which is reminding somebody of, for example, adhering to physical distance regulations. But it could also double up for other things. Sorry, maybe you want to play some promotional message like, oh, hey, there's a sale on, or you want to just promote something in a particular aisle, or an example might be you go into a retail facility and maybe the meat is on sale, and it's like, dear customer, have you noticed our section, and this meat is 20% off? And that would kind of ideally trigger a response from the customer and say, oh, let's go over there, let's maybe check it out. Now we're using the audio bridge to do it. I talked a little bit about it earlier. If you're coming into a potentially legacy analog system, but you want to add some new speakers to it to maybe cover areas that could be where you never had audio before. And this just gives you a very seamless way to do it. The next topic, takeout food. Okay, so now we see a lot of this food takeout drivers. People are coming in and out of restaurants on top of that, but what about giving a simple way, I guess, to be able to fulfill orders while keeping the doors closed to the public? And that solution basically looks like this. You've got a surveillance camera at the facility, maybe it's outside looking at the main entrance. And when somebody was to walk up to the door, it triggers an automated response from the network speaker sitting inside the facility and lets the whoever it is, the operator, know, okay, somebody's outside, and that they could go and let that person in. Or maybe they're making a phone call to each other, or there's an intercom on the door that they could talk to, whatever the solution may look like. So it just kind of streamlines the process, tries to make automate the process a little more, and basically speed things up, make them more efficient. Queue monitoring. Now, this is something that anyone that's ever walked into a busy retail location or grocery store can probably relate to. Lots of people standing in a line. Now, the lines seem a bit longer today because we're all maybe distancing, but it still can be seen as a perceived long line. And well, what does this look like? The queue monitoring system or solution is a camera looking at an area. It's counting the amount of people and counting essentially how long the queue is. So let's say it's 10 people or 15 people. What does that mean? It means that you can automatically alert somebody, hey, maybe we need to open up another till to get the line to move a little quicker. And this just gives you a way to automate it. So again, you've got a camera, it counts how many people. You set a threshold, maybe it's 7 people, for example. Any more than 7, let's open up another register and get the line goes down, and then you can close that register down and just automates that kind of system. And that's been around for a long time, but I think that we see new use cases for it in today's climate. The other is loitering alert / keyless entry. And when you look at the slide, you'll see a person standing at a door holding a box. And if anyone's ever tried to walk up to, holding a box to a door, it's kind of inconvenient. You got to put the box down and maybe get your phone out, make a call, or you have an intercom that you're trying to press a button and then you talk to the person and then the door opens, hopefully. And really what this looks like is we've got an intercom on a door with a camera on it that has a facial detection or facial recognition system built in. So when you walk up, it scans your face automatically, realizes that you're standing there, and initiates a call to the person inside, who can then come out and open the door or talk back through the intercom. You don't even have to put the box down. You don't have to touch any handles, anything like that. And it just makes the flow a little easier. And a couple of, I guess we'll call it additional considerations and a few sort of quick topics that I just want to touch on. The first one is heat mapping. Now, heat mapping is used for customer flow. And what you'll see on the slide in the images is an overhead shot looking down at a facility And where people are congregating or the areas that people are using the most will show up as hotspots. Now, that's very useful information, for example, for a retailer, or it could also be useful for any kind of cleaning uh, reason. So if you're finding that, okay, I know 1,000 people came in and out in a given time, which areas are they going to? What are the hotspots, as we see? And it shows you that in a visual way. Usually red means that's the highest density areas, and the lighter colors means you're getting less people. So the light blues, the light greens means people aren't really going there. And that can be very good to know because imagine the scalability of this thing. Imagine you're a retailer and you have three different vendors, let's just call them ABC for now. And you're selling, I guess, part of your shelves or end cap displays as valuable real estate. So imagine, I'll call it end cap A in a retail facility where 1,000 people came in and 600 people went to that display. Well, that's very useful to me as a business owner because I can say, well, I may charge more for a vendor to use this because I can justify that by the high amount of traffic that goes that direction. Another challenge, blocked exits. And this is something that can be, there's a health and safety a hazard kind of angle to this, especially at fire exit doors that legally need to remain all clear at all times for obvious reasons. You need to have free egress if something goes wrong. And what if there's an obstacle there, a box, right, or a stack of boxes or something that a person could trip over and cause all kinds of problems. And what we're seeing now, the use case is being able to use cameras with analytics on board that can detect when an obstacle is there and an exit is blocked. And what happens is you send an alert to an operator that says, oh, there was a box. They look at the video, they see something that was there, and they can very quickly go and respond to that and actually avoid some potentially very large fines as well, actually. The next topic, and this is an interesting one, what they call sound detection. And I want to be very clear about this, but there are cameras out there that have onboard devices for being able to analyze audio. It's not recording the audio in terms of what are people saying or recording conversations, but what it can do is actually detect patterns in a person's voice, such as aggression, but also other things like glass breaking sounds, things like car alarms going off, even gunshot detection. So very interesting application here. But the typical challenge might be, and how we would solve it is assisting staff in emergency situations when they may be faced with aggressive behavior or danger. And another application, monitoring change washroom cleaning needs. Well, we don't put any cameras in washrooms, of course, but what about if it was outside the washroom, and what if it was counting people that are coming out, and how often is the facility actually being used? Well, wouldn't it be useful, for example, cleaning staff to know that, well, what about from the hours of 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. nobody actually used the washroom? Should I go and clean that facility when nobody actually used it? It allows the staff to be more efficient, and allows businesses to be more efficient in how they schedule their cleaning staff as well. So perfect. So yeah, really that was the last section, and really I just want to let people know how do they contact us if they need any help, would like to discuss these solutions in more depth, or maybe they have a solution that they didn't see or something they need help with. We can get pretty good and creative helping build those solutions. But to contact us, very easy. Go on the website, it's just access.com, or call us on the free phone number 1-800-444-2947. Or finally, if anyone wants to send an email, they could email us at canada-tech@access.com, and we'll be happy to help you.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, I have unmuted myself. That is something that I do need to remember to check. Gavin, thanks so much for exploring all these different opportunities that are available out there in the safety and security field that perhaps a lot of our audience members aren't familiar with. So thank you for that. I've got a couple questions and perhaps comments as well. This is going back actually quite earlier on, talking about the occupancy estimator, someone in front of a grocery store, counting people coming in. Now, I don't go out a lot because of pandemic, but, when I've gone shopping and stuff, I see people there counting. And these solutions exist. Why aren't more people investing in these solutions so they can free up that staff to do other things? Is it that they think that this will be temporary, it'll go away and it'll never happen again, so why bother investing? What's the hesitation?
Yeah, I mean, and it's a great question, and I think there's a couple of potential answers to that. The first one I think I would say is just awareness that these even solutions exist. So somebody may not even think to go and look out there and say, hey, is there an easy way to do it? They may just be in this reactive state and say, right, this is what we're going to do. And so that would be, I think, one of the reasons. The second reason might be like you said, and I think we're all in the same boat that we hope all of things go back to normal. And as a business owner, I would probably not buy into a system that was only made to do that one thing and be somewhat proprietary and say, well, what else can I do with it? And again, to the occupancy example in particular, well, maybe the main use case now is we just want to find out how many people are coming in and out because we have a legal requirement to do so and we have a max occupancy in there. But by buying that system today, what else can you do with that information? If I was a retailer, to me, it's very useful to know that, okay, 1,000 people came in and out of a store in a weekend, as an example, because that helps me with operational efficiencies and things like staffing. And it also helps me do other things like, well, affect the opening and closing hours when are most people come in and out. So there's all these other things you can do with the system beyond just, hey, count how many people come in and out to hit an occupancy limit. So that would be my answer to somebody that was to say, hey, why should I spend all this money on this system? What else can I get out of it? And those would be the right questions to ask, for sure.
Very good, and I think you touched upon my next and maybe final question, I guess, depending on what you say in response. But you touched upon scalability, starting with a solution, how you can expand that solution, future proofing. And I am glad that earlier in the presentation you mentioned that people should be used to having to work with a hybrid system because there's still analog edge devices, and a lot of people aren't ready to just empty their wallets to upgrade everything all at once. So what sort of mentality should my audience have in terms of when they're approaching a client suggesting solutions or want to get themselves more educated on this, in terms of how to have those discussions with owners, with managers, in terms of here's where we can start you off, based on your application, whether it's retail, whether it's educational, but here's where we can start you off, and here's how things can grow and expand over time. How do you start that conversation?
Yeah, I mean, I think my approach or my suggestion there would be you're approaching the decision makers. One of the initial things I would probably discuss or make sure you're discussing it very early on is that these systems being proposed or solutions being proposed are non-proprietary and open systems. And some manufacturers out there, I guess what I would say is like to put people into closed systems. So, oh, you have to use my stuff. You can only work with my stuff and you got to buy it all through me. And that would be something I would be very clear to the business owners that you're not being locked in to a proprietary system. That's where the scalability comes in. That's where the integration with other systems goes in. Because it's very easy to say, walk in and go, hey, we're going to rip everything out and put all new stuff in. That's the very simple way. And if it was a greenfield install, like you're building a brand new building, maybe you have the luxury to design a system that way, and that's often the case. But often there are most of the customers have existing systems out there, and they want things that are going to complement and add to that, or try to enhance the functionality of it. So that would be the message I would probably discuss very early and clearly, that these are open systems. They're all network based, and that's the way things are going. Um, if you're working with IT departments, as an example, most big businesses or companies have some kind of IT department. They typically love this kind of stuff because it's much easier to integrate. It can be monitored, it can be managed, and it's very easy to scale also.
Gavin, thanks again. I'm going to put up on the screen your contact information again for everybody who is watching. And again, thanks again for taking the time to go over these solutions. And I do hope people reach out to you, reach out to Axis to learn about some of these solutions so that they're able to expand their own basket of goodies when they're talking to clients and prospective clients for the solutions they can bring to the table.
Absolutely, yeah. And thanks for talking to me. He was very, very happy to help. And yeah, look forward to talking to anyone that would like to discuss these further.